What is going on, Pats Nation? It's Patriots Global back here with another video, and in this one we're going to be talking about how the New England Patriots have officially signed tight end Jordan Leggett and defensive tackle Darius Kilgo. Now, we did talk about this a little bit in a previous video just the other day when the New England Patriots brought both of these guys in for a workout. I told you that they were more than likely going to be signed because the NFL does have a new rule with players visiting, teams because of the whole pandemic going around, that you have to have legit interest in signing these guys if you're going to work them out. And it seems like every single guy that the New England Patriots have decided to bring in for a workout so far have been guys that they have signed following that workout. Of course, to me, this is going to be nothing like the Lamar Miller signing, someone who I think has a great chance at making the roster. This could seriously just be for depth purposes, especially Darius Kilgo, but we'll start off here first with Jordan Leggett, the tight end. He's a former fifth-round pick originally by the New York Jets back in the 2017 NFL Draft, so the New England Patriots do have a sense of familiarity with him. I talked to my boy Jets Central about this, and he just said that, look, he was a great guy in Clemson. He was someone who showed such poise and such ability heading into the NFL. But one, he wasn't really able to transition that into the NFL. But it was also a mix of not necessarily getting enough chances. He ended up spending 2 years with the New York Jets, kind of going back and forth between the active roster and the practice squad before he was after I should say, picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which essentially that exact same thing happened. He was released by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers just the other week because, as we all know, NFL teams had to go from 90 players to 80 players, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are stacked at the tight end position, and he was kind of just the odd man out, and the New England Patriots decided that he was going to be a guy that they picked up. 25-year-old, so again, his best years are ahead of him. He is still very young. He has a lot of time to develop, and I think, look, if the Patriots can't help this guy develop, then nobody's going to be able to help him develop. He's a guy that is a big body that I think Bill Belichick is really going to love. 6'5", 258 pounds. A signing that really doesn't surprise me. Bill Belichick is kind of just like me in the sense of he likes having a big tight end. Gronk was that big tight end for a while, then he left. Then we brought in Matt LaCosse, who had that same build. Matt LaCosse decided to opt out for the 2020 season. We don't have another guy that fills that role of that 6'5", 6'6" type of role. And now Bill Belichick decided to fill that with Jordan Leggett. This is definitely more of a tough situation to be able to determine with a guy like Jordan Leggett. He's coming into a situation where it is not going to be like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are not stacked at the tight end position. It is one of the weakest spots entirely on the Patriots team. You're kind of coming into a situation with Ryan Izzo, Rashad Berry, Jake Burt, Devin Asiasi, and Dalton Keene. So it's pretty wide open if he can come in here and actually make some noise. He's going to be definitely behind some of these other guys that have already been working out with Jared Stidham, have been working out with guys like Cam Newton and Brian Hoyer. He definitely, personally, for me, would not have been my first option to sign. I think that there are much better options for the New England Patriots at the tight end position to essentially help them out. But that's just not the route that the Patriots decided to take. I mean, Leggett is a guy that since joining the NFL in 2017 has legit done nothing. It's hard to find statistics on this guy. It's hard to find pictures of him even throughout his tenure in the NFL. So, it's a bit of a question mark signing. I think it's something that Bill Belichick is kind of hoping that he can turn around, he can get the best out of him and try to turn him into that old Clemson tight end. But he's definitely not a guy that, personally, I'm going to be holding my breath on. Now, as for the defensive tackle, Darius Kilgo, I would say that this is my least favorite signing, especially out of the two. If that name sounds familiar, Pats fans, I said this to you before, it's probably because he's been in the New England Patriots system before. He originally entered the league as a 6th-round pick by the Denver Broncos in the 2015 draft. He was a part of that number 1 overall ranked defense that brought the Denver Broncos to Super Bowl 50. The Broncos then released him, and then the Patriots decided to claim him off of waivers, and then they decided to release him again, and then pick him up again, and then place him on the practice squad, and then release him after that. it was a long tenure with Darius Kilgo and the New England Patriots, but it wasn't a great tenure also. It was something that was going back and forth, and he just wasn't someone who was making a big impact, clearly, or he would have made the actual roster. I think, to me, this is Belichick just trying to add some depth at a place that is really thin, and that's something that I've been saying at defensive tackle. You know, the Patriots need another nose tackle, and this is exactly what Darius Kilgo is, a 6'3", 313-pound defensive tackle, but he's not someone that I would call a playmaker. Hasn't even recorded one sack throughout the entirety of his career. He's always been more of a depth piece or a backup type of guy. And to me personally, I think there are so many better options that Bill Belichick could have went at defensive tackle. Now, I know that it's a little bit more late into the process. I know that you have some experience with Darius Kilgo, but the thing is that you have experience with Darius Kilgo. You know what you're going to get, and you know that it didn't work out before. And so essentially, I don't see any of that changing, especially because since being released by the Patriots, he's been a journeyman in the NFL. If you didn't want to, pay big money or sign a guy with a big name like Snacks Harrison, there are still other guys that could have made a bigger impact for the same amount of money, maybe a little bit more than you're giving Darius Kilgo. But with $34 million in available cap, I don't necessarily see why that would be such a big issue. Again, I think that defensive tackle is still thin for the New England Patriots. I don't think Darius Kilgo comes in and makes that position more comfortable for me, especially because essentially I'm still going to say that he's someone who doesn't make the final roster. So I am still hoping that Bill Belichick adds a better name at the defensive tackle position. But for now, Darius Kilgo and Jordan Leggett are New England Patriots. We'll see how things pan out. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel so that you are updated on these guys and more roster moves that will follow. Consider subscribing again to the channel if you haven't already. And make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. And also, remember that if you guys do want to get more benefits from the channel, like joining a Patriots-only Discord, coming onto the channel, playing some one-on-one Madden or whatnot, make sure to check out the link below to my Patreon. And other than that, guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.